Hey Meeple people, how's it going? And we're going to go ahead and look at a game called Riftforce over at Capstone. So let's get into it.
All right, so basically this is a two-player kind of card-driven battle game. The first person to get to 12 victory points is going to win the game. At the start of this game, there are 10 factions, which each have their own little thing that they can do to deal damage or to manipulate the board a little bit. How you sort that out is at the beginning you're going to shuffle up all the factions, you're going to discard the first one, and then it's a draft from there. So each team is going to draft up to 4 factions. When they do that, you're going to place those down, and then each faction has a number of elementals that come with that. This is going to create your draw pile. You're going to mix all those up and shuffle them and then draw up to 7 cards. Each faction has the same number of cards, and you'll notice that they also have a health associated with it. So the health totals are 5, 6, and 7. When you do that and draw up to 7, once that's done, the player that doesn't start gets to automatically put their top elemental out, and then it's going to be the other player's then turn to start. How do you start? You have 3 actions to choose from. Those actions are, you can either play, activate an elemental, or check and draw. So like I said, you have a hand of 7. When you're playing 3 elementals, you can play up to 3, and they have to be either the same type of elemental or the same health elemental. So if I were to play this first on a rift spot, I can play a lightning elemental either adjacent or on top of it because it is a 6. And if I'm going to play for the 6s, I have to stick with the 6s. If I decide that I want to play a lightning elemental for it being a lightning elemental, then I have to play 3 lightning elementals out. All right? So the point is to try and occupy this rift for the ensuing battle. Okay? Now your opponent was going to get to go, and they're going to place some stuff out. Let's see. Say they decide to do something similar to this, right? This doesn't make sense for the rules, but just for demo purposes, they're going to throw some stuff out there. Then it comes back to you, and you want to activate. You want to start doing some damage. So I'm going to decide that I want to burn this card, and I'm going to put it in my discard pile, and I'm going to activate it for the 6 health, which means I get to choose up to 3 6 health cost elementals on my rift. When I do that, I'm just going to do damage based off of what type of elemental it is. So in this particular case, I have 2 6 cost lightning elementals. And the lightning elemental says I get to place 2 damage on any enemy at this location. So any enemy at this rift location, I get to do 2 damage to. So I activate this one, it does 2 damage. Sorry, there's the 1 counter. Then I activate this one, it also does 2 damage. So now we're at a 4 total damage to that elemental out of 7 health. Now if I were to do up to 7 damage and this dies, I get a victory point. And that's how you get the first set of victory points in this game, is you try and kill off the other team's elementals based off of each one of the unique abilities that these elementals have. The last action you can do is if you're out of cards, or anytime you're below 7 cards, you can choose to draw. In this case, if I had a setup similar to this and I wanted to draw, I draw back up to 7, but then there's also a check. And if I have elementals at any unoccupied portion of the rift that's not occupied by my opponent, I get a victory point. So it would be a victory point here and a victory point here for me, and I would get 2 victory points for that. Again, it's the first one to 12, and that's how you win the game.
Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us Riftforce, and we're going to keep looking around Gen Con. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Goodbye.